In the soft, eerie glow of twilight, the old antique shop nestled at the corner of Marlow Street whispered of forgotten times and hidden secrets. The windows, dusty and cobwebbed, veiled the treasures, or curses, that lay dormant within. Amongst the rows of dilapidated books and moth-eaten garments, Eliza found herself drawn to a peculiar mirror, its frame an intricate tapestry of intertwining vines and flowers, tarnished by age yet undeniably captivating. Her reflection seemed oddly distant, as if she was looking into another world, a darker world. Eliza, a 19-year-old art student with an affection for the quaint and historical, had stumbled upon the shop during one of her evening strolls through the quieter parts of town. The shop, known to locals as Hazel's Curiosities, rarely attracted young customers, but Eliza was different. She felt a kinship with the past, a desire to connect with the bygone that often left her feeling isolated from her peers. The mirror, however, was unlike any other artifact she had encountered. Its glass was unblemished, a rarity among antiques, and it held a certain luster that seemed almost unnatural. Drawn to its allure, Eliza inquired about its history, but the shopkeeper, a wizened old woman named Mrs. Hazel, merely shrugged, her eyes clouded with unspoken knowledge, or perhaps, warnings. "Take care, child," she muttered as Eliza handed over a few crumpled bills. Not all things are meant to be seen. Back in her small, cluttered apartment, Eliza hung the mirror on a wall opposite her bed, its ghostly gleam filling her room with a silvery light. That night, as the clock chimed midnight, a chill settled over her room. The mirror's surface shimmered, and Eliza, restless and unable to sleep, watched in horror as a scene began to unfold within its depths. It was a room she recognized, her own, but cast in a ghastly, sepia tone. She saw herself sleeping peacefully, but the tranquility was short-lived. From the shadows crept a figure, gaunt and ragged, its eyes hollow pits of despair. The figure loomed over her sleeping body, a knife glinting ominously in its hand. Frozen in terror, Eliza could only watch as the blade descended. With a start, she awoke, the room bathed in the soft glow of dawn, her heart pounding against her chest. It had been a dream, a vivid, horrifying dream. Yet, the unease lingered, coiling in her stomach like a sinister serpent. The following days passed with mounting dread. Each night, the mirror revealed new horrors, visions of fires, accidents, and shadowy figures lurking in unsuspected corners. Eliza tried to dismiss them as nightmares, but the line between reality and the macabre world within the mirror began to blur when news reports confirmed each event with uncanny accuracy. A fire in a nearby building, a tragic car accident at the intersection she passed every day, the unsolved disappearance of a local man, all foretold by the mirror with morbid precision. Tormented by the mirror's revelations, Eliza's life spiraled into a perpetual state of anxiety. Her once peaceful nights were haunted by the specter of what lurked within the glass. Desperate, she sought out Mrs. Hazel, hoping for answers, or better yet, a way to rid herself of the mirror's curse. "You've seen them, haven't you? The shadows beneath the surface?" Mrs. Hazel's voice was a raspy whisper when Eliza confronted her. "The mirror doesn't just reflect, it reveals the darkness that is yet to come, feeding on the fears of its beholder." "But why me? Why show me these things?" Eliza's voice trembled, her eyes wide with fear. "The mirror seeks a guardian, someone strong enough to confront the darkness. It chose you, child. But I don't want it. I can't take it anymore." Panic edged into her plea. Mrs. Hazel sighed, her eyes somber. "There is one way to end its torment, but the cost is great. You must face what it shows you, stop the events before they unfold. Only then will you break its hold over you." Armed with a desperate resolve, Eliza watched the mirror that night, her nerves taut as she awaited the next horrific vision. It didn't take long. The scene unfolded, a close friend, Clara, stepping into the street, unaware of the speeding car approaching her. Without hesitation, Eliza rushed to her phone, her fingers trembling as she dialed Clara's number, urging her to stay indoors, to avoid any streets tonight. Confused but trusting, Clara agreed. The next day, Eliza learned that a drunk driver had been arrested on the route Clara would have taken. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized she had altered the future, broken the chain of events the mirror had set in motion. Night after night, Eliza faced the mirror's dark revelations, preventing each foretold disaster with growing confidence. Yet, each intervention extracted a heavy toll on her, draining her energy, her spirit, and her will. Then came the final vision, one that chilled her to the bone. The mirror showed her own death, a fatal confrontation with a shadowy figure from one of her previous visions. Knowing what she had to do, Eliza set out that night, determined to face her destiny. The confrontation was indeed fatal, but not for Eliza. Using all her cunning and strength, she overcame her would-be assailant, a deranged stalker who had surfaced from the shadows of her earlier interventions. As dawn broke, Eliza, battered but alive, returned to her apartment. The mirror, once a conduit of horror, now reflected only her own bruised but triumphant reflection. With a sense of finality, she draped a cloth over the glass, severing the last of its power over her. The horrors ceased, but the echoes of those nightmarish visions lingered in Eliza's mind, a haunting reminder of the darkness she had faced and overcome. Yet, in her heart, she knew the mirror's curse was lifted, its chain of terror broken by her courage and resolve. And in this newfound peace, Eliza found not just relief, but a deeper, more